Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson had one of the best rookie seasons for a wide receiver in the history of the NFL. What does that mean, though, for his fantasy football outlook in 2021? Let's break it down with SI senior fantasy analyst Michael Fabiano. And Fabs, if you drafted Justin Jefferson last year, you really had to be patient because his first 3 games, he didn't do a whole lot. But wow, did he have an incredible, strong finish, like Anquan Bolden esque type of rookie season comes to mind.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was tremendous. 88 catches, a rookie record, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaged 17.1 points per game for the season. But you mentioned it. The first couple of weeks, he really didn't do anything. From week 3 on, he averaged 18.7 fantasy points per game. Only Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill were better among wide receivers. Pretty impressive stuff.
So you brought up his stats last year: 7 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. I know you did a lot of research for other rookies that actually met that mark as well.
Yeah, so since 1970, 16 wide receivers, including Jefferson, have had at least 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns in that first NFL season. 11 of those wide receivers saw a drop in their fantasy point per game average in their second NFL season. 7 of the 15 saw a decline of 1.8 fantasy points per game or more, and 4 wide receivers saw an increase, although it wasn't a massive increase in the case of most. So if we factor that in, that Justin Jefferson is coming off of such a great season, Bill, that regression is almost guaranteed in the reception and yardage totals. Well, we've got to look at what he's projected to be for 2021. Looking at the numbers from last season, if you dropped 2 points per game off of Jefferson's average, he's right around the 15 to 16 point average, which means he's Julio Jones or Chris Godwin from last year. And neither one of those players had great campaigns overall from a fantasy football perspective. I'm not saying Justin Jefferson is going to be a bust. Absolutely not. I think the kid could actually score more touchdowns this season than he did last year. But I do think there is a very distinct possibility that the reception totals and the yardage totals go down. Remember, NFL defensive coordinators now have 1 full year of tape on Justin Jefferson at the pro level, and they're certainly going to be utilizing that to defend him better this upcoming season.
So if his touchdowns go up, but his catches and his yards go down, are you still investing that mid-second round pick essentially as your wide receiver 1 on the Vikings second-year playmaker?
That's where I have him, but my strategy has been running back. That's where I've been going in most of my drafts because I want to solidify that backfield because that position is going to get very thin. If Jefferson's there in the 3rd round, I would take him. I don't think he will be. I would suggest this, though. If Justin Jefferson is your number 1 wide receiver, you're probably going to feel pretty confident going into the season. Expect a little bit of regression at least this upcoming year.
That is the fantasy case against Justin Jefferson. Fabiano, yeah, he has plenty more of these fantasy case against articles and videos. Julio Jones, Kenny Galladay, Saquon Barkley. Check it all out on Sports Illustrated. Go to si.com/fantasy.